I've been waiting for Granblue Fantasy Relink for a very long time. I think a lot of us have. This highly anticipated anime-style action RPG developed by Cygames has been in development for about 8 years, and I've spent 32 hours on the PlayStation 5 version and another 29 hours on the PC version, giving me a total of just over 60 hours. So of course, I have some things to say. Before we begin, I want to start by saying that I've not been contacted by Cygames. My copy of the game was purchased with my own money, and they've had no influence on this review. With that being said, let's get it poppin'. As I've stated earlier, Granblue Fantasy Relink is an action RPG developed by Cygames, and should now be available on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and PC via Steam. Relink takes an already established IP by the name of Granblue Fantasy, which was a mobile turn-based RPG that's been around for 10 plus years and created a full 3D world with action RPG mechanics. There's a lot going for this game. The story is built in a way that consists of a beginning, middle, and end so that players can have a full experience, given that this is not a live service title. First, I'm going to share my thoughts about the story without getting deep into it and spoiling anyone. The game takes place deep into the Granblue Fantasy lore as the main cast. However, you don't need any prior knowledge to play, understand, or enjoy the story. The story is very simple to follow, but to keep it short, the game has a very anime story. And when I say that, I mean that the story is very predictable. It doesn't feel like the story was ever the focus for the game. It's there, and it's a good predictable story, but it feels like it's there for the simple fact of bringing the world of Granblue Fantasy to another platform in the most simplistic way possible, which is going to be difficult regardless of how they do it due to the long history of the series. If you're looking to buy this game just for its story, this is where I'll have to say that I can't recommend it, as it's short and it has way too long of a history to easily get into. However, if you're looking for a much deeper experience, the gameplay and the endgame is where things get interesting. Shortly after you complete the main story, the actual game opens up to you. This is where the game becomes similar to other popular titles such as Tales of Arise, Monster Hunter World, Final Fantasy XIV, and even Phantasy Star Online, which is a game I used to play back when I was younger, and it takes a little from each one of these games. Relink contains various quests with rarities based on difficulty, a really well developed character and weapon growth system, a combat system that's very simple to understand, and all of that mixed in with co-op. You're going to spend majority of your time on one character building their masteries and unlocking skills and stat boosts, forging and upgrading weapons while grinding for sigils and materials. I like to refer to this game as the anti-gacha game. The reason is because the game is basically a gacha without any of the gacha systems or stamina mechanics, allowing you to see what a gacha game is like if it was presented as a full AAA game. If you're wondering why you heard all those comparisons to other games earlier, it's because the combat system takes from that of Tales of Arise, the character and weapon growth systems from that of Monster Hunter World, the city hub and questing systems from that of Phantasy Star Online, and finally, the raid-like boss mechanics from that of Final Fantasy XIV. If you're stuck wondering if this is a game for you, if any of that sounded fun or exciting to you, then I highly recommend trying the game. It may have various similarities to the games mentioned, but it does have a flair of its own, helping it stand out. I also have a really good feeling for the later content coming to the game, because you don't develop a game for this long without any kind of long-term plan for the game, especially with the success we've been seeing over the past couple days. Another thing that might contribute to your decision is that this game comes as a full package. No battle passes, no season passes, no crappy predatory systems, and it's not a live service game. It does come with a full AAA price tag, as it's not a free-to-play game, making majority of its money through microtransactions, but once again, I highly recommend this for those who want a deeper experience with gameplay and in-game content. This game is so much fun, and I just can't stop playing it. Speaking of the future, as I've mentioned, I'm really excited for the future of Granblue Fantasy Relink, as they've already announced that a new boss is coming in March, with an additional 2 playable characters coming in April and another update coming in May, but we don't have any details on that just yet. The reason why I'm excited is because the Granblue Fantasy mobile game is a game with a huge list of characters that could be applied to this style of game as well. The possibility of adding more weapons, sigils, and in-game bosses is really high, along with some brand new story DLC popping up and expanding the world even more. I hope they support this game as much as they do the mobile gacha game, with years of content, as we've been waiting 8 years for this release, and it'd only be great to have more content popping up ever so often. Now, if you were to ask me to give a rating for Granblue Fantasy Relink from a scale of 1 to 10, I think I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I give it a 9 because I can find ways to improve upon the game even though I'm enjoying my entire experience. The camera can become a player's worst enemy, especially when dodging some really fast attacks or trying to keep up with a boss. There's no real map in the game, only a compass and fast travel. The servers for the game can be trouble sometimes as I find myself stuck in a connecting menu or unable to connect with friends. But this could be due to the early access of the game on PlayStation, as I didn't have any of these issues when playing on the PC version of the game. I wish there was more variety in the boss fights within the game, and I also wish there was a way to earn special weapons through completing harder content in the later half of the game, even if there was very low drop rates for these weapons. However, none of these things ruin the game for me, as I plan on playing many more hours of Granblue Fantasy Relink in the near future, with all of you either on PC or PlayStation consoles. It's not a masterpiece, but it's very much above average. And there you have it. My thoughts on Granblue Fantasy Relink after just over 60 hours into the game and playing quite a bit of the endgame. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment telling me who you're maining and what platform you're currently playing on at this very moment. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Have a wonderful day, stay healthy, stay safe, and stay chaotic. Peace out, everyone.